Now we'll move to the Unified Government Commissioner for the 5th District. And Mike Kane is with us.
Hello, everyone.
I don't see your opponent.
Okay. We can do it without him.
So is Nikki Richardson affiliated with somebody else's opponent? I didn't recognize her name.
Hi, that's my campaign manager, sir.
Who's campaign manager?
Andrew Davis.
Oh, okay. All right. Just wanted to know who the person was. You'll be speaking later then.
Yes, sir, for the 8th District.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead with the 5th District? And the incumbent, Mike Kane, is here. Mike, you have 2 minutes for opening remarks.
Well, I'd like to tell people that I wasn't raised in Piper. I was raised at 222 North Thorpe in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with my mom and dad, my 9 brothers and sisters, and sometimes my grandma. I met my wife in kindergarten, and we were married for 43 years. You know, there is a lot to do as a commissioner. I've been here 16 years. I vote with the people every single time, and we talked about, do we listen to the folks? Every single vote I have made for 16 years, the vote is what the citizens want. I will continue to do that for the next 4 years. I can tell you that when I came in 16 years ago, I thought the job was over here. Actually, it's over here. I love doing the job. One of the things that I'm really good at is if you call me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd hit Tennessee, drive by your house, take pictures, bring staff out, look at your issues. I plan on doing that for the next 4 years again. Thank you, sir.
Okay. We will move to questions now from the panelists. And the first question will come from Mary Rupert. Mary?
Thank you. What are your top priorities in spending the $87 million that the UG is receiving in federal funds?
Well, I think, first of all, we should pay down some of the debt. We should get more social programs for the kids, get some counseling. And one of the things that's already been talked about is that pool. We need to open that pool. Some of those kids, the only place they have a time to cool off is that pool. I'm not opposed to building a pool out there at Indian Springs since it's got all the bus traffic and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money. And we need to focus on a lot of things that we really haven't focused on, such as the roads and stuff like that. But if we don't pay down the debt and we don't provide something for these kids to do after school, you know, if you keep the kids busy, they're not in trouble. If you don't give them something to do, then they seem to get in trouble. And that's not just, that's all 4 corners of Wyandotte County.
Okay. We'll move to Elnora Jefferson for the next question. Elnora?
Okay, thank you, Merrill. Good afternoon, Commissioner Kane. Many of the votes and decisions that are made require votes of your fellow commissioners. And I would imagine that could be a give and take. How do you justify your vote on an issue that is not in your district, but is in another commissioner's district?
It's a great question.
No, yeah.
It's a great question, and I've been doing it for 16 years. I like to follow the commissioner that's in the area. I ask a lot of questions of them specifically. Is this your need? Will this work best for you? You know, I've been really good at it. It's worked quite well. I think there's always room for improvement. You know, we all know I'm the most vocal commissioner that there is, and I don't plan on changing. But it's our job not just to represent our district, but we're represent all the districts. And you have to take the lead of the folks that have elected those people in that district. You have to follow their lead. That's who they put in there. So when they put them in there, one of the very first things I do is I take them to lunch or breakfast and say, you're here now. What is your plan? Where do you plan on going and how can I help?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
JD, your question of Commissioner Kane.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Kane. My question is, how do you differentiate commercial and residential development for your commission district from that of the rest of the city county?
Well, everyone knows that the 5th district's grown more than most. And I'm not going to apologize for it. I ran on pro-growth. You know, we've not only had a lot of businesses out there, just here in the last couple of years, we've probably got 300 brand new homes. You know, it's a huge area. The school district's going 7%. When we moved out there in 1990, there were 800 kids in the whole class, and I think there's 4 classes of 3rd graders or something out there in Piper. But you have to remember that the growth has been, look at 78th and State. Look at how all that was torn, all the black was torn down, and we brought all those brand new buildings in there. That's the kind of thing I don't want to just see in my district. I want to see across all the districts. Those are good quality jobs. The places look great. They keep them well maintained, and we need to do the same thing. They need a grocery store down 10th and Parallel or 18th and Parallel. We need to provide that. We need to provide things for all sides of Wyandotte County, just not the west side and just not the east side. There are so many different needs for each district, and I wish that we could work on every single one of them. But like I said, the pool, a grocery store down there, and things for the kids to do to keep them busy during the summer and after school.
Okay. Next question will come from Mary Rupert. Mary?
Thank you. Do you have any thoughts for us on the Fairfax fire station, and should it be reopened?
Wow, great question, and it should have never been closed. It's the most volatile area of all of Wyandotte County. There was some funding. I called FEMA and tried to set up a meeting with the administrator and myself to talk to FEMA about getting the monies to help fund the firefighters that were down there. I worked down there for 35 years. The fuel that runs through there on the bridge, the great big pipe, is all the fuel for the airport. Closing that down is the worst thing, or one of the worst things I've seen in the 16 years I've been there. I am trying to work with the Fairfax district. It was my goal when I got elected 16 years ago, because Fairfax was empty. Now it's mostly full. One of my next goals is to open that fire station and provide better safety. The numbers that were provided from the staff were inaccurate to a point of a lie. I think it's very, very important that we provide as much safety all across Wyandotte County, and we're not doing that, and that's in the northeast area.
JD, do you have a question for the commissioner?
Yeah. Commissioner, tell us what you know about the community-led safe and welcoming ordinance and municipal ID, and what is your stance in support of or opposition to that ordinance?
Well, it's changed names a couple of times. I would like to know if the police support it. I think it is something that we definitely need to sit down and talk, and I mean have an open and full conversation of all the ins and outs. I don't want to lose money from the feds, from ICE and stuff like that. It would be concerning me if we lost X amount of dollars. And then I'd also like to know what the surrounding municipalities are doing. And if we're going to do it, can we all do it together? And the final thing I want to say, something of this magnitude should go to the entire community. It shouldn't be just 10 or 11 people voting on that. I think they need to present it to all of us and then bring it to the vote of the community. They could put it on the ballot and see what the community says. And I think that's the best thing to do, because then all the players know exactly what's going on.
Elnora, your question for Commissioner Kane.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, Commissioner Kane, this is a question for you regarding environmental. issues. In areas where there's been quite a bit of demolition, especially of older homes, there could be, and most likely there are, residual amounts of lead and asbestos in the soil. If one of the land bank policies that we have is in options, where a developer or a builder is able to get that land and build whatever he or she wants. What is your thinking in terms of the lead and asbestos, which cannot be washed away, the residual lead and asbestos in the soil, and the amelioration or abatement of that in the land bank parcels that are sold?
Well, I worked in safety for 21 years for the UAW at General Motors. So I don't want anybody to be exposed to anything that could cause harm. If a developer comes in there and he says, I want that property, he should be required to clean that property up and get it abated and go from there. He's getting the property for next to nothing. He can absorb that cost to make sure that when you put a house there, that somebody that's in the house doesn't get sick.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
Mary Rupert, do you have any questions?
Yes. Do you have any kind of position on funding for the police department? Should it be maintained or should it be trimmed?
Well, we're shorthanded as it is, both in the police, fire, and the sheriffs. I'm not for not fully funding them. We need to fill the jobs that we have right now. I can't remember how many we have, but it's like 2 dozen or 3 dozen between the 3 departments. You know, we're having a hard time making this a safe place, and it needs to be a safe place. You know, we're not doing a very good job of hiring firemen, policemen, and sheriffs within Wyandotte County. We have a tendency to go out of Wyandotte County. I'm all about hiring our kids in Wyandotte County, and I think that we need to do a better job of getting grants to fund them better so we can go into the high schools and the junior highs and hire these kids in Wyandotte County to help protect us. And I know that we had a program before, but a cadet program. I talked to Marshall Miller the other day, who used to be the police chief. He said, Mike, back in the day, we had a cadet program. Well, I think we need a cadet program in the sheriffs, the fire, and the police, and bring these kids out of our schools and not take any money away, but call the feds, FEMA, whoever you can call and say, hey, we need more money to make us a safer place.
Okay. Commissioner, you will have 1 minute for closing remarks.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys for putting this on. You know, I know a lot of people say sometimes that I get excited. I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and to the point to where I enjoy what I'm doing. You know, I have been the voice for the people. I plan on continuing to be a voice. And I want you to think about this. And I said it when I got started. Every single time the district says, Mike Kane, we want you to vote this way, that's the way I vote. And I think that's what we're supposed to do. We're elected to represent them. We ask them to feed the information on which way we should go. Should we go this way? Should we go that way? And what are their thoughts? I consistently call people back. I will continue to do it. I consistently show up at their properties to look at their concerns, and it's not always easy. And I will tell you that the process is slower than I like, but I'd like to think I'm doing a good job, or I wouldn't have been there for 16 years. And you have to remember, I'm on my 3rd mayor. The entire commission is rotated at least twice. I'm on my 3rd clerk and 4th lawyer. So the only thing that stayed the same is myself. And I'd like to think that that's a sign that I'm doing a good job. Please vote for me on August 3rd.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay.